I now firmly believe this was instigated by a small group and most likely by a foreign intelligence agency. I strongly suspect ISI. Our government never ordered anyone to attack. Our government never ordered the police to use live ammunition. They were attacking the police with firearms, with weapons. Where did these weapons come from? Where did these weapons come into Bangladesh from? I now firmly believe this was instigated by a small group and most likely by a foreign intelligence agency. I strongly suspect ISI. If you'll notice that the protests really did not, there was no reason for the protests in the first place to continue because the quotas were not mandated by our government. The quotas were restored by the courts, by a court ruling. Our government had lifted the quotas many years ago, in 2018 or so, when the first quota protests happened. So at first when the protests started, the protests were peaceful. Our police was providing security for the protesters, keeping them safe. And then they took a statement of my mother's where she said that we don't want Rajakar's families getting jobs. They took that statement and twisted it saying that my mother said that the protesters are Rajakars. My mother never said that, but this was spread online. And then, in the middle of the night, you had some group, nobody knows who did that, marching through Dhaka University chanting, "We are Rajakar, we are Rajakar." Now, if you have a group marching through Jerusalem in the middle of the night chanting, "We are Nazis, we are Nazis," that is the equivalent. What would be the result? The result would be that the people of Jerusalem would get angry and start attacking those who they think said this. And that is what happened. The other students, especially Chhatra League, our student supporters, the pro-liberation students, they got angry, they attacked the protesters, and that is how the violence started. The police tried to stop the violence, and in doing so, some of the police members used live ammunition, which they were not authorized to do. Our government never ordered anyone to attack. Our government never ordered the police to use live ammunition. We immediately called our student leaders and said, "Stop the fighting." The fighting stopped. We immediately suspended the police officers that used excessive force. But even then, that wasn't enough. After that, they increased the demand to resignation of the government. And once they did that, they started attacking the police. Now, they were attacking the police with firearms, with weapons. Where did these weapons come from? Where did these weapons come into Bangladesh from? How did the students get weapons? So these weren't students. This was a mob, this was a militancy that was instigated to try to overthrow a democratically elected government. That is what happened. My mother left because her security forces, the Prime Minister's security forces, the Special Security Force, the Prime Minister's guards, they were heavily armed. They were prepared to guard the Prime Minister's residence, Ganabhavan. But if the protesters had marched on Ganabhavan, hundreds, if not thousands of them would have been killed. It would have been a massacre. And my mother did not want a massacre. That is why she left.